Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode number, what, 20 of Black Bunny Hole. You're right now on the Black Bunny Hole. I'm Sheba, your host and captain. On this show, I fuck around so you can find out. And if you can see at the bottom of our thing, oh, I missed it. I got the timing off, but that's okay. It says, like, if the men will not go forward, then the women will go forward. That is a quote from our person today. Actually, this is like a kind of different one. You know, I usually don't go this far back. I haven't, as of yet, gone this far back into, you know, the universe to look at a person, but like they came across my like social media feed and I was like, how have I not heard of this person? And then I realized, because it's a woman, of course. Feminized things we like learn to devalue over time, and during their time. So this person, I didn't know that much about until I started doing a little bit of research on her. So let me introduce our next guest. Person we're going down the Black Bunny Hole on is Queen Mother Yaa Asantewaa. Ooh, yes, this mama. This is a fictional depiction of her. This is another one of her. Just like, not fucking around, all right? This is my girl. Oh, October 17th, 1840. Oh my God. To October 17th, 1921. Really? She was born and died on the same day? I love it. Is October 17th? I think that's a Libra. It's either a Libra or a Scorpio. She's a cusper, which I love. I myself am a Scorpio, pretty solid Scorpio, but yeah. Okay, so Yaa Asantewaa. This one is gonna be like interesting because I feel like I have to do like a little bit of backstory on like world history and geopolitics and shit. So bear with me for 1 second, okay? So our story takes place in the kingdom of Ghana. It was called Ejisu in the Asante Empire, which is now modern day Ghana. Okay, so let's go back. This is a guy, Kwaku Dua the First, the 8th king of the Asante Empire. So it looks like around, let me go to like full screen. Just give me a little thing. Okay, so in like the 15th century, the people of, we'll call it Ghana, you know, all of the West African coast, first encountered Europeans. The Portuguese, they came and they were trading and stuff. Then in like the 17th century, the Dutch came. You know, the Dutch, they did some shit. They did some stuff, you know, in Africa, as have lots of Europeans. But okay, so the Asante Empire by this time, the 17th century, like, you know, was like, hey, we got this sweet ass spot, like this trading post, and like we're like negotiating. They had a lot of gold, the Asante, Ghana, that empire, it was very resource rich. And so yeah, they had a lot of gold and they were trading it. They started to trade it for guns and weapons. They started to realize how important that was. Okay, so there's this guy who is ruling for like 30 years, the Asante Empire. And during that time, he makes these deals with the Dutch, and he like sends some Asante people to become like work in the Dutch army, and in exchange they got guns. It was called the Dutch East Indies Army. So they got that. They, you know, did a lot of kind of trying to appease and work with the European people. In about, what was this? Okay, and so like 1863-ish, the Asante started encroaching upon an area that the British had said was under their protectorate. I know. Like, thank goodness England came to, protect this part of Africa. Anyway, this kind of starts, Europe, England was kind of, a reluctant, like, trade, partnership with them. And eventually they were like, why don't we just, like, take over this whole thing? So we don't have to, like, worry about, like, negotiating with a language we don't understand, with people who don't like us. Let's just take it over. So they established the Gold Coast, the British Gold Coast. The British actually buy the Dutch stake in the Gold Coast. So now they've got like a pretty huge chunk of Africa, a very huge, very resource rich chunk of Africa. Okay, so we're gonna go here really quick. This Asante ruler dies in like kind of suddenly in like 1867, and so one of his nephews takes over, Kofi Karikari, 10th king. He was the grand nephew of the former king. Apparently, his notable achievement was the intentional neglect of the armed forces, a step taken to avoid the escalation of war with the British. So this says a golden trophy head owned by Karikari can be found at the Wallace Collection in London, acquired by Sir Richard Wallace in 1874 for $500. 500 pounds, which was like probably kind of a lot back then, but obviously not as much as it was probably worth. It was probably priceless. And these fucking white men, these dudes, they put a price on it. Okay, so anywho, he is only king for like maybe like 5 years, 1867 to 1874, when he had to abdicate the throne to who to go to? Mensa Bonsu. Oh, his younger brother, actually. So this younger brother, Mensa Bonsu, was like, hey, older bro, you're like not doing it right. And I'm gonna take over. And apparently he tried to restore the fortunes of Kumasi because it had been like really ravaged by the Anglo-Ashanti Wars, a series of 5 conflicts that took place between 1824 to 1900. The wars were mainly due to Ashanti attempts to maintain and enforce their imperial control over the area, which, don't love this. This is it's obvious that the British person probably painted this picture. Okay, so he's trying to rebuild Kumasi. However, he apparently did not make himself popular with contemporaries. He was like chronically short of revenue, didn't have money. He was personally avaricious, whatever. It means greedy. It means like you hoard the wealth, you hoard the women, you're greedy with everything. And apparently he carried punitive exactions to new and insupportable levels. That seems like he punished people really draconianly. And so he was super unpopular. Anyway, they kept trying to depose this guy, get him out of power. In 1881, he sends a golden axe to Queen Victoria, the Queen of England, as a gesture of goodwill, because I'm sure he was like, what the British love? Gold and weaponry. Let's like give them an axe. Let's give the British an axe. So anyway, that lasted for another 2 years until his sister, Yaa Asantewaa. Let's go back to my girl. This is not actually the subject of the person. We're almost to her. Yaa Asantewaa, how the Ashanti like do things, they have like a king, but also there are a lot of like queen mothers who apparently have a lot of influence and power too, but not as much power as the king, of course. Okay, so she deposes her brother, which that family, my goodness. Okay, she deposes her brother in 1884. She exiles both him and their mother. Oh my goodness, I didn't even notice that. Dang, she's like, I don't care, mama. You produced 2 dumbass sons. They gotta go. So deposes them. Unfortunately, she makes her son the king, but he dies 44 days in office of smallpox, a disease that was brought to them courtesy of the British Empire. This is an interesting thing. So she engineered the ascension of her son, Prempeh the First, to the Golden Stool. Now, the Golden Stool is like the throne of the Asante Empire. It's the royal and divine throne of the kings of the Ashanti people and the ultimate symbol of power in Asante. There's like a lot of mythology behind it, and it is not just a throne. It's also believed to house the spirit of the Asante nation, living, dead, and yet to be unborn, yet to be born. So big deal. It really represents like the soul of the Ashanti people. And so Yaa Asantewaa sees her, engineers the ascension of her son, Prempeh the First, to the Golden Stool. He was only 15 though, so you know she's doing actually most of the stuff. But you know, after he was claimed to be the heir of the throne, another person, doesn't say who, but I think we can all assume it was a man, rivaled him, causing a bunch of internal strife in Ashanti during the constant civil war. The neighboring Adansis took advantage of the weakened state of the Ashanti. They called on the British to start a war with the Ashanti, and the British, you know, that's their bread and butter. They love that. They were like, yeah, hell yeah. So they did it. So this says that Yaa Asantewaa was severely anti-British and would stop at nothing to neutralize or eliminate enemies, though she was otherwise intelligent in matters concerning royal politics. I don't think someone like fighting for their homeland against the invaders is being unwise or unintelligent, or like she's severely anti-British. Like what? Her hatred for the British stemmed from the diseases they were bringing to the Ashanti people and the strife it was causing. Her own son died of one of these diseases. The British literally just keep trying to steal their stuff. Anyway, the British come and, oh man, they give this fucking speech. So when this kid is like 25, let's see. Right, okay. So the kings were like, as the British were kind of invading, the kings were like, don't resist, because they'll be even shittier to us if things turn violent. And then this guy, William Maxwell, arrives, and he comes and he's like, hey, we want the Golden Stool. They're all like, no, we're not going to give that to you. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to depose your king, Prempeh, and then we're going to exile him to the Seychelles, which I'll be going to visit very soon. Okay, so the British are like, cool, we're going to exile your king, and we're going to just keep taking over stuff. And so they exile this guy, Prempeh, and then they make a request to turn over the Golden Stool. And, you know, this is where Yaa Asantewaa comes in. This is, I know, so many people. We're back to this woman. This is the main character, Yaa Asantewaa. Okay, so she is appointed by her brother to rule Ejisu, which is an area in the Ashanti Empire. She was born in 1840, born into royalty. After a childhood without incident, she cultivated crops on the land. She entered a polygamous marriage with a man from Kumasi, with whom she had one daughter. Okay. So let me go up here. Yeah, Sheba big. Yeah. Okay, so there was like a place where I saw like the thing that the dude said. Let's see, was it this guy? Let's see. Frederick Hodgson. Okay, let's see. Gold Coast. Uh, yeah. Okay. So this dude comes and he's like, so after like the Asante War, which the Ashanti lost, um, the British were like, okay, well, you owe us for the money that we lost in this war. You owe us $100,000 each year, and we're also gonna need that throne. Sorry. And it's cool if you don't give it to us because we are still gonna, rule you as if you did. But okay, so anyway, this fucking white man um, comes to his Kumasi and says, what must I do to the man, whoever he is, who has failed to give to the queen, who is the paramount power in the country, the stool to which she is entitled? Where is the golden stool? Why am I not sitting on this golden stool at the moment? Am I the representative of the paramount power in this country? Why have you relegated me to this chair? Why did you not take the opportunity of my coming to Kumasi to bring the golden stool and give it to me to sit upon? All right, so all the dudes are like, are you fucking kidding me? This dude is like literally exiled our king, our duly elected fucking king, and now he's like not trying. It's like not enough. It's never fucking enough. Okay, so this request led to a secret meeting of the remaining members of the Asante government at Kumasi to discuss how they were going to secure the return of the king. And there was a disagreement about, how to do this. The men present were like, what else we got? Like, we can't give them the stool, but like, maybe we should, because, maybe if we do that, we show we're not any trouble, they will be cool. It'll be cool. The British. The British. Usually such a forgiving people. Okay, so at this meeting, Yaa Asantewaa is like, how can a proud and brave people like the Asante sit back and look while white men took away their king and chiefs and humiliated them with a demand for the golden stool, the spirit of our motherfucking people? She didn't say that part, but I think it was implied. The golden stool only means money to the white men. They have searched and dug everywhere for it. I shall not pay one predwan to the governor. If you, the chiefs of Asante, are going to behave like cowards and not fight, you should exchange your loincloths for my undergarments. Another framing of it is, if you, the men of Ashanti, will not go forward, then we will. We, the women, will. We will fight the white men. We will fight until the last one of us falls on the battlefields. Anyway, to dramatize her determination to go to war, she seized a gun and fired a shot in front of the men. Now, all these like bitch ass dudes were like, oh shit, she's serious. Actually, she's probably right. You guys are, yeah, we should probably fight. Even if it's like not going to be successful, we gotta, like, if we're going to go down, we got to go down swinging, she was chosen by a number of regional Asante kings to be the war leader of the Asante fighting force. So apparently this is the first and only example for a woman to be given that role in Asante history. This is called the Asante-British War of the Golden Stool, which is also known as the Yaa Asantewaa War, the Third Ashanti Expedition, the Ashanti Uprising. It was led by Queen Mother Nana Yaa Asantewaa with an army of 5,000. So my girl is like, all right, dudes, get out of the way. This is a all hands on deck kind of situation, okay? This is no longer a time for appeasement. We've seen what that's gotten us. We've seen these other kings who didn't develop our army so as not to not look like a threat, who kept giving them weapons to try to appease them. It has not worked. It will never be enough. So, in 1900, they started laying siege to this fort in Kumasi, where the British had sought refuge. The fort apparently is still there. After several months, though, the governor of the Gold Coast, this British dude, sends a force of 1,400 British people to quell the rebellion. Apparently, during the fighting, Queen Yaa Asantewaa and 15 of her closest advisors were captured, and they too were sent into exile to the Seychelles. The rebellion represented the final war in the Anglo-Asante series of wars that lasted throughout the 19th century, which, like, these are some wild fucking pictures of this. What's another crazy picture? I think it's at the bottom of Prempe. When the hell is this? What is this a picture of? King Prempeh the First submitting to British troops. That's not great. That's really difficult to look at. Ugh. And so after this, they were like, can we get that golden stool? And only Yaa Asantewaa was like, no, we're not fucking doing that. And yeah, so gave a rousing fucking speech. And then, yeah, it did not work, but they were captured, sent to exile in the Seychelles. In 1902, like 2 years later, the British annexed the territory that the Asante Empire had been controlling for almost a century. And the Asante was transformed into a protectorate of the British Crown. So they were now colonized officially. Yaa Asantewaa died in exile on October 17th in 1921. 3 years after her death, in 1924, King Prempeh, the one who was exiled, and the other remaining members of the exiled Asante court were allowed to return to Asante. King Prempeh the First made sure that the remains of Nana Asantewaa and the other exiled Asantes were returned for a proper royal burial. Apparently, her dream for an independent Asante nation, free from colonial rule, was realized on March 6, 1957, when Ghana was, kind of established. It was apparently the first nation in Africa, in West Africa, to achieve this feat. And so, yeah, like 25, what is that, 20, 21 to 31? Yeah, like 35 years after she died, they got their independence. They fought and won their independence. Let me see, Ghana court system. Now, how in the hell did this happen? What? Tell me, is that like a traditional Ashanti ritual to wear these fake white curly powdered wigs in their court system? Just feels strange. What is this? Martyrs of the rule of law? Wow. Anyway, so 35 years after they got their independence, and they, and sometime since then, they established, like, yeah, we're still going to do this. We're still going to, the colonial rule, yes, it was terrible, but let's take some good things from it. Their cartoonish legal system and their clown-like costumes that they wear during it. Yeah, anyway, I know that was kind of a different one, but that is Yaa Asantewaa. I thought she was super interesting just because we don't, hear about her. And I think I see a lot now, like, oh man, history keeps repeating itself. What if lots of times there are women who are like, I can't believe these dudes keep thinking these other dudes are going to just be kind eventually. They're just gonna be merciful. They're just gonna not take and take and take as much as they can and not give anything in return. And I see women being like, no, I don't care if it's not gonna work. I'm going to go down swinging. If this is gonna be a suicide mission, I guess, fine. We're not negotiating with terrorists. And unfortunately, we've been taught for generations that dividing our societies by gender is a good idea, and oftentimes men will be the top gender who make all the decisions, the women are the support, and I think this is what we get, kind of a world that's like that, and where we forget the badass women who were like, no, I am not doing this. I saw this, which has Yaa Asantewaa, Harriet Tubman. I don't know who these other two women are, but one, it says Maria Felipa de Oliveira, who is one of the women who participated in the struggle for Bahia's independence in 1823. She led a group of 200 people in the battles against the Portuguese. And then Nanny of the Maroons is a Jamaican national hero. She led an armed group against the representatives of the British. You know, and we all know Harriet Tubman, who made some 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 enslaved people. She worked in the Civil War and fought in many raids against ignorant white Americans. I love it. I think that is women's role throughout history, is like being these unsung heroes, the actual people with courage and backbone, and who are raised to be servants, to be of service to people. And so they grow up and they're like, the best way that I can serve people is by doing shit the men are not doing, for whatever reason. The men are not getting it together. When you want something done right, probably got to get a woman to do it for free and with no thanks and not that much help. And y'all not even going to remember her after. Rude. Yeah, I just thought she was like super interesting. I learned a lot about, West African historical culture. Apparently, she is seen by Ghanaians today as a queen mother who exercises her political and social clout to help defend the kingdom. Apparently, yeah, they have a more matriarchal society. And I have been like reading, I have to do more reading on it, but that one of the tools of colonization is to enforce strict gender roles, and to institute like a hierarchy. Like the men are more powerful and the leaders, and they get to make all the things, they can inherit all the property, they can do all this stuff, and the women are really just supporters, are just like, maids and bang maids, and child rearers and cooks and stuff. And I think that is a very powerful way that they made women think that like we were not that powerful, and that we were just kind of the victims who have to go along with what the men think's best. And I love examples of people who are like, no, we're not doing this. I'm sorry, I don't care what these men think. I don't care. Like, let them wear the panties if they're going to just sit and keep giving these white men whatever they want. Yeah. This was like a really interesting thing to go into. I was also interested in it because I saw that she had been exiled to the Seychelles, which is where we'll be visiting soon. And I was like, how beautiful. The first time I go to Africa is the land where warriors are exiled, and where I would like to think they probably lived like pretty great lives, being like, whatever. Oh, also, they never found the golden stool. It's great. So the original aim of the rebellion, of the war for the golden stool, was won. They got to, the Ashanti people got to keep the golden stool safe from the British. I think I saw eventually that, apparently female stool occupants participated not only in the judicial and legislative process, but also in the making and unmaking of war and the distribution of land. Interesting. Yeah, I learned a lot about Africa in the past couple of days, just from doing some research on that, then on the history of the Seychelles. And Africa, like, we got this. We have so much natural resource. We have so much human resources. And, just because we're not all necessarily in the land of our birth or the birthplace of our ancestors does not mean that we're not going to, like, rally the troops and win in the end in a beautiful, spectacular underdog comeback story, which we all love. Yeah. All right. I like kind of nailed it. It's kind of all I wanted to say about that. Tell me an interesting thing that you learned about this. Yaa Asantewaa. I want to like look more at her because she's just like a babe. Yes. So stoic looking. And this is like badass. Ugh. Thought that was going to be a better picture. Apparently, she was a skilled farmer before ascending to the title Queen Mother. I love me a versatile queen. Yeah, and I also love that like women were kind of the ones, because I want to go back to Yaa Asantewaa too, because this was before Yaa Asantewaa did the rebellion. They exiled not just Yaa Asantewaa, but this woman before her, Yaa Asantewaa. They exiled her to the Seychelles, and she remained there until her death. Why do they put this? She remains a controversial figure in Ghana due to her habit of using violence against her opponents. You mean the British? Oh, was she too violent to the British? The people who had like ravaged her fucking continent? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I wanna meet the Ghanaians who are like, well, she could have used her words a little bit more. Couldn't she? You know, wasn't very feminine of her. Very masculine of her to do that. Silly. We're not doing that. So yeah, this was Yaa Asantewaa. So that was her son. And how was she like? She wasn't like Queen Mother of who? I don't really get how it works, but like maybe we should not do the queen and king thing. Maybe we shouldn't do the like rule by like whoever you give birth to. It just doesn't seem like it's a great way to, you know, keep everyone safe and autonomous and whatnot. So anyway, this was the story of Yaa Asantewaa. I feel like I want to like revisit this again in like a year or so after I've been to the land of her exile. I've done a little bit more research, wrap my head around it, see how the world changes, and yeah, I wanna revisit her. I'm quite inspired. Thank you so much. Super interesting episode. I love you guys. I will see you soon. This Sunday, we're talking more about like women leadership and just stuff changing and, you know, being skeptical of men and stuff. And yeah, so see ya. This is your captain speaking. Oh, that's good. I should say that more often. Okay. All right. We are going to go to full screen, and then I'm gonna leave you guys with my exit intro thing. All right. Love you. Bye.